In theory, we are now live on LinkedIn, so hello everyone on LinkedIn. Today I am going to make a piece of content which I will edit, me and my team will edit down after this into a video that's maybe kind of 3 or 4 minutes long to post on LinkedIn. But what I thought would be useful, bit of fun, would be to actually go behind the scenes of how we're going to do this, of how we've prepared, how we set the room up, and all these different pieces. So the piece of content is about how to get the best out of your webcam when filming on video calls and video interviews and presentations and stuff like that. So hope that there's some people that have joined us. A bit of a weird time, it's like 5 o'clock now, so you might be probably not travelling on the train or anything, I don't know. Lots of people I know aren't going anywhere, so in theory we're live. Have we any viewers?
Trying to get the feed up now.
Okay, so we don't know, so we're blind at the moment, but so anyway, I'll get on with it and I'll be talking to you through the process and we'll see where we go.
You have
So,
3 viewers.
oh, we do. Hello, 3 viewers. Do please leave a comment and say hello, and we'll answer any questions as we go and talk through all the different bits and pieces. So I will begin our piece of content. So you had the call. The BBC, they rang you up and they said, you're an expert and we want to talk to you about this thing. But you need to call in, you can't come to the studios, you can call in on Skype. And you get all prepared, you prepare your content, you're really excited about it. And you get your laptop out and then this happens. Hi, I'm on the BBC and I look a bit weird because the camera's up my nose and yeah, it's not good. So yeah, that's a pretty extreme example. Well, this is an extreme example, but I've literally I've been having lots of video calls with people recently and people are doing video calls like this and it doesn't look good and it's not difficult to make some simple changes to get the best out of your webcam. So I'm going to talk you through step by step of the bits of advice that I think are really important for getting the best out of your webcam for filming, interviews, webinars, web chats, all sorts of stuff like that. So I'll go back over here. So as you can see here, I'm at my desk and I have 2 machines set up. I have my iMac. Hi, this is my iMac. And my laptop on the table. Normally, most of us work above our laptops, if that makes sense. If we're looking down to the camera. So one of the most important things, I think, is eye line. So I think it's really important to identify where your camera is and move it so the eye line is good. So it's really important to identify where the camera is and move it to a good position. So a good position is just above your eye line. So at the moment, so my iMac camera is at the top of my screen here. So that's quite a good position. I'll adjust it as I go through. I tend to stand depending on the situation, but I would want that a little bit higher. So I will boost up the eye line with my beautiful standing desk. I'm just showing off now. So as you can see, I've moved my desk up. I'll show you tips on how to do the same thing with a laptop. You know, that's what that box of files behind us is for. It's a prop that I prepared in advance. So at the moment, the camera is just above, so if I'm looking at the screen, it's just above my eye line. I might even go a little bit further, and that just helps with these things here. So if you've got chins, you look nicer if the camera is a little bit above your eye line. So eye line is critically important, get the eye line in the right position. So I'll do the same thing on here. So the laptop's obviously a bit higher. I'll put the desk back down to show you with the laptop. So obviously most people won't have a standing desk, a sitting standing desk. So what I would recommend is getting hold of some books, not cushions, something solid, and to put the laptop up higher like so. I don't know, can you see this on the wider camera? Yeah, you can do. So, oh, gone off of that. So, right, I think already you've got an improvement there. I still think we could be a little bit higher. So at the moment my eyes are just above the camera. So I'm going to need something else to prop this up a little bit more. I thought that would be enough. Well, what I'll do is I'll cheat with my standing desk and I'll move my eye line a bit higher, as long as we don't pull out the cables. From that perspective, you know, this is all stuff that you can do before you have the video call. So keep going up, keep going up. So now my eye line is above the camera. Yeah, interesting scenario. What do you do here if you need to type notes at the same time of having a video call? Well, that's a good thought. So get the eye line right, and then if you do have a wireless keyboard, which you really should have, if you're working from home with a laptop, I think you should have a separate keyboard. Otherwise, you're going to get problems with your back and problems with your arms. I'll leave that down to the experts on furniture, but you can already see that improves the way the look is. So I can go over here as well, and you can see the eye line is better on that. So it helps with the framing and the positioning of your face, and it just looks a stretch nicer. So the second thing is surroundings. So we'll go back to the iMac and we'll work off that for a minute. No, the second thing the second thing is lighting. So actually what I'll do is I'll stop there, I'll go back over here and talk here. So for those of you that are watching live on LinkedIn, I'm creating pieces of content here that editor's going to edit together later. So Chris Harper, our editor, who's out there. Hi, Chris.
Hi there.
Yeah. he'll be recutting this. He'll be cutting bits out that later. So, for example, I earlier said, thing 2, and then I laughed because I'd realised I made a mistake. I then stopped and re-said that again, so he can cut into that easily. And the more I talk now, the more difficult it's going to make the edit for him, because he's going to have to get rid of all of this stuff and take it out. So I'll go back to the agenda. So the second thing, so we've done eye line. Are we happy with everything we've got eye line wise, Harper?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, good. Happy. Sort of everything's cohesive and makes sense on that side of things. So the second thing is lighting. So lighting's an interesting challenge for everybody. So one of the key things with lighting is to get the light source behind the camera. So at the moment, as you can see here, there's a window behind me here on the iMac monitor. So this window is coming in, and it's lighting my face unevenly. You can see like this side of my face is darker, this side of my face is lighter. So we are going to talk you through steps on the best way to do that. We've got professional lights in here, which you probably don't have at your house, but there are tips and tricks and how to get the best out of your own environment. One of the best things to do is put your laptop or your computer camera in front of the window. So pointing, the window's behind the camera and it's pointing towards you. And different cameras deal differently with lighting, so it's bespoke to your own, but what you want is a nice even balance. So I'll talk through those steps now. So the first thing we'll do in here is we'll set up my iMac for good lighting. So I'm going to move some things about. I might need to stand up, tuck this chair away. I'm going to move this camera up, and am I going to move this camera up? He says gracefully. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to move my boxes out of the way because we'll do this separately. And as you can see, this is all stuff that would happen if we were doing this production without being live. So this is all things that we've got to think about as we go and as we do it. So from this perspective, I normally have my iMac positioned like this. Gonna go up, make sure that with my standing desk nothing gets ripped off as we go up. Right, so as you can see, we've still got an issue here with the lighting. So we have the window light over here, and then I've set up another light. We won't be able to see that here, but I will turn this on. So as you can see, that does make a big difference straight away in terms of the balance of the light that's on my face. And you can see that both sides of my face are evenly lit, pretty much. I can adjust this one a little bit. So how do you do this with your own stuff? Where's the power? Just turn the power down a little bit. There you go, nice even light and tone. So how do you do this with your own lighting system? So with a table lamp or with a standing lamp or anything like that, if you have a white wall behind your computer, bounce the light off of that wall. So point the light towards the wall and bounce the light off of it, and then it will bounce back onto your face. If you try and point a bright lamp or something right at your face, it won't work. It will wash you out and it'll overexpose parts. If you underexpose the background, you want a nice, even, what's called exposure across the scene, where the balance of light is even everywhere. So that is how to set up light. Either bring it in from two sources or just have one source of light behind the camera. So I think that covers that section to do with lighting. You happy with that, Harper? Yeah, that was quite long, wasn't it? I think if I explained that concisely enough, or I suppose we would. So Harper might come. You want to come in and discuss if there's anything?
Yeah, I think that's basically it, because obviously a lot of people won't have the filming lights that we've got, but it's very easy to replicate that just with any cheap lamp from IKEA will do it.
Yeah.
Any wall, and if you don't have a wall, there are a lot of, like, one light I've seen at IKEA is just this big glass ball.
Yeah.
Anything that's like really nice, anything you'd have in your living room.
Yeah.
That's nice, ambient, soft light, so you don't have that harsh rabbit in the headlights.
Perfect. All right. Cool. Thank you. Steph, is anyone online? Anyone talking, or have we got a pathetic 3 viewers still?
We've got Chris Martin said, good content as always, mate. And he'd like to know, are you producing this video on the back of watching his video that they had to rush through this morning?
I didn't see your video this morning, sorry Chris. But we'll check that out. I assume your video is about a similar subject. I will check that out and share as appropriate, but yeah, next time tag me in it. I don't mind being tagged in stuff. So next step is framing. Oh, I undid the example of the bad background, didn't I? So framing's quite important. So as you saw before, when we were back in this original position, we were like this, weren't we? And we had the messy desk behind us. So it's, there's my marketing manager Steph's leftover lunch, her keys, different bits and pieces that she's left at her desk. I think you want to think specifically about what's behind you, what's in your surroundings, what's there, how does it represent what you're trying to say, how does it support that? So, think about, what that looks like and how that works for you. So for me, I've set this up specifically. I do a lot of video calling. So I wanted this is artwork by my auntie, Stella. She won't be watching this. She doesn't use LinkedIn or social media. I wanted a specific scene framed behind me from that perspective. So we did actually put a Hoover in the corner to show you, but the Hoover's not actually in shot on this one. So there you go. But just make sure you remove any clutter from the background. I'm going to retake that bit again. So just make sure you remove any clutter from the background and create a scene which represents, something about you, something about who you are, and supports your message, or just doesn't distract from what you're trying to say. Right, okay, so that's that one. The same would apply on the laptop. So I'm going to make my arms look very big. So we've gone through eyeline, about getting the position of the camera right. We've gone through lighting, where the light source is. And we've gone through framing and the surrounding of the background. So that's another actually point on framing, and that works quite well if I show you on the laptop. So within video production, there's a convention to be in a certain position in the scene. Otherwise it looks unusual. It doesn't work. So let me just prop this up a little bit just to make sure we've got that showing the right way. So if you're here in the frame, for some reason, this is unconventional. It doesn't work. You're not positioned in the right way in the camera. What you need to be is your eye line needs to be about 2/3 of the way up the screen. So like that. So that's a much more conventional position for your eyes in the scene. You know, and again, the same thing works the other way. It doesn't really work like that. It just doesn't look quite right. And films and things like that might use these different types of framing. There was a particular film, program I used to watch called Mr. Robot. They do a lot of framing like this. And it was for a specific artistic purpose, but it doesn't work when you're doing webcam. So you want to be in the middle, eye line, about 2/3 of the way up the screen, like that. So I'll do that bit again, just so you've got it. So to get the framing right, you want your eye line about 2/3 of the way up the screen, just a little bit of a gap in between your hair, your top of your hair, and the top of the camera. Cool, perfect. Right, next thing. Happy with that? All makes sense? Yeah. Enough content there to get through. Any more viewers, Steph? Comments?
Well, Holly said hi.
Holly.
Your sister.
Oh, okay. Hi, Holly. I'm drinking my Fanta. That's not very elegant of me on a live stream. Okay, sound is another thing to consider. I'll jump back to this one. So when I do a live stream or do a video call, I tend to use just a simple USB microphone and headset. So, you know, the one on your laptop, lots of them are very good, but I would always recommend having something a bit more official. If you don't want to wear it, you can just put it down in front of you and just make it more clear that, you know, these are better at picking up. So yeah, think about, you know, the ones for your iPhones are really good. The microphone comes through clearly. Again, you just don't want anything that's going to distract too much from what you're talking about. At the moment, I'm wearing a professional radio microphone, which is going through the professional system here. So the sound should be really clear and crisp. Whereas, you know, on a webcam or something like that, it's not always. So do check your settings and make sure that the volume is on the right setting. Maybe we can do some screen grabs of that and put that in later. Okay, so that's covered sound. Is that we happy with that on sound wise, Harper?
Yeah, I mean, actually, one thing. Did you have a question about having to take notes at the same time?
Yeah.
Everyone, because something that's an important thing that a lot of people don't realise with laptops is obviously if you're doing a video call on a laptop and you start typing on the same laptop, if you're not using a microphone headset, all people are going to hear is because the microphone, a lot of the time, say on this, a lot of the time it'll be around about here, right next to the keyboard. So all the other people on the call, or if you're video calling in, say if you're video calling into BBC News, all they'll hear is the tapping from your keyboard. So again, a separate keyboard and a separate microphone as well.
If you are calling in to BBC News, don't take notes.
Just don't take notes.
Just concentrate on what you're doing. Yeah. So I think, but yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think a wireless keyboard is, or wired one. Amazon, 10 quid. Yeah.
One thing that actually is working very well at the moment is earpods, the wireless, the Apple ones, because they've got a microphone and an earpiece in the same place. It's quite discreet. So obviously a lot of people will be worried about wearing this because they don't want to look like they're in a call centre. Yeah. So it's just an easy way of. Obviously, they're quite expensive, but if you've got them already, put them to good use.
Yeah, put them to good use, okay, because you can connect them to most machines.
Yeah, if you've got even Windows PCs, you can connect.
Okay, perfect, right, cool. Right, let's move on to the next thing. So, the next one is what to wear, he says, while wearing a bright green shirt covered in lemons. Context. What's the context of the conversation? You know, are you having a formal business meeting? Are you having an interview? You know, dress appropriately for the situation. You know, I'm sure you're not going to be going to any black tie events while we're self-isolating or we're having to do social distancing. So possibly it's good to tone it down. I always think if you wear a white shirt, you know, a white top, it doesn't necessarily help the camera, balance the light in the best way. So it's good to think about the context of the situation that you're in. I think that covers that. Context. Context is everything with clothes. So again, you saw what I did there was I presented the piece to camera and then I stopped at the end so that Harper can edit it a bit more easily. Makeup. Right, I've got some makeup here. So I do wear makeup. When I do videos, I wear makeup. I'm going to put some on now. I'm going to put this on live and hopefully this is, I thought it might be a brand that we could do, but this is just invisible. I've got no idea what it is actually, but I just put it on and it just helps, especially on the green screen studio. I was up very late last night. If anyone saw my LinkedIn post, I was up till about 3:30 in the morning trying to make contingency plans for the coronavirus situation and do stuff like that. So I've got bags on my eyes today. You know, this is very, very basic application of makeup without really any skill that I've been doing, putting basic makeup on CEOs and finance directors and junior members of staff for many years, just to reduce, you know, that bit of shine, bit of texture on the skin, you know, because we all have. I think it does. Yeah, does that look nicer? This is just a weird. Yeah, I'm suddenly in the market doing makeup videos, right? Is this? Just imagine if someone tuned in right now to the LinkedIn feed and I'm just doing my makeup and they're like, "What is he doing?" But yeah, I don't know. For video calls, maybe not. It depends. Yeah, if you normally wear makeup, yeah, then just wear. You know, do what you would normally do. I think if you're doing a formal presentation over video call, I mean, you wouldn't normally necessarily wear makeup if you were doing a formal presentation. If you don't normally wear makeup, if that makes sense. If you were doing a formal presentation. But because, you know, there could possibly be situations, we've got clients we're working with who are going to do, you know, formal presentations to audiences, investors, or, you know, members of their team, like CEOs who want to talk to members of their team, and to make sure you look nice, that you don't look tired or strung out or anything like that, which I did before I put makeup on, so apologies for that. That it does help and just evens out your skin tone, you know. And again, it's not a perfect situation, but then this is like £8 or something, and it works really well. This is where we get loads of questions about what brand of makeup I use, and I get an email from an influential makeup brand who asked me to be their ambassador. So yeah, you can just send me an email, york@5andamic.com, and I'll be happy to oblige for some free makeup. Yeah, happy? No? Harper's shaking his head in disgust at me. So, yeah, okay. Next thing. Happy with that? Yeah. I mean, I just put makeup on for like 3 minutes. It's probably not very compelling content. So, you know, as you can see, we're sort of building up a picture here of different, you know, of how this scene might end up looking. You know, I'm going to move this box out of the way. Make sure there's no clutter in the background. Obviously, I think you might be able to see the reflection of the studio camera that we've got there, but obviously that wouldn't normally, you'd normally be aware of something like that if there is an odd reflection. I'll move that around there. So as you can see, we're sort of building up this picture of a different scene. Hopefully, I look better than I did at the start. We'll see when we get to the end. But so, you know, we've been through eye line, making sure you position the camera above your eye line, lighting, thinking about where the light source is coming from, and trying to move the light source to help with that. Framing, so the position of where your eyes are in the scene. Yeah, I think this is one of the you know, a key thing here, that a lot of the time people put themselves in a weird position in the scene and it looks very odd. Sound, making sure you use an external microphone, especially if you're using a laptop and you're going to be typing notes. What to wear, it's all about the context. You know, to think about what is the right thing to be wearing for that situation you're about to go into. Makeup. So I would suggest if it's a formal presentation or a formal webinar you're doing, wear makeup. If you wear makeup, I mean, some people might just normally wear makeup in the process of day-to-day life, so just do what you would normally do. And if you don't wear makeup, it might be advisable just to put a little bit of foundation on for a formal presentation that you're delivering on camera. Have a drink, so make sure you've got a glass of water. I started a video call earlier and suddenly realised I didn't have a drink and was like, and was messaging people to ask them to bring me a drink. So cheers, here's my glass of water that I have. And final tip of the day is mute yourself. So, and I said that without looking at the camera, so I'm going to say that again. Final tip of the day is mute yourself. If you are not talking in the scene, please mute your microphone. It's very annoying to hear you breathing or to hear your dog barking in the background or doors slamming or whatever other noises a normal home produces. So make sure when you're not speaking, you mute your microphone. Okay, so I think in there, so I'll go back over here. In that video, there's obviously lots of bits within what's happened there, and we'll edit those bits together to make a cohesive, maybe 3 to 4 minute video of those bits and pieces. We'll put music underneath it. We spent maybe about 25 minutes before the video started, just as a team going over what the content was going to be about. So we had a plan, I had a bullet point for each one and a couple of notes with it, not extensive, but just enough to help guide that process. And what I'm going to do now is shoot a possible opening for the video on the webcam. And it was just, I was just going to do, okay. So and then you can end the stream after this. Okay. Yeah. Unless there's is there any questions, Steph?
I couldn't tell you that the stream's ended.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's ended. I couldn't tell you that. I wanted just to carry on because I figured you were in flow. But it stopped it partway and then started up again and then it stopped again and now it's not come back. But it's okay, continue and film.
We just do this last bit and then we'll investigate it afterwards, yeah? How to set up your webcam in the best way to get... How to set up your webcam in a way to make you look as nice as possible for video calling. Is that right? Is that the right tone?
Same way in a way.
Yeah.
How to set up your webcam to look as nice as possible during video calling.
How to set up your webcam to make yourself look as nice as possible while video calling.
Yes, again, there was a bus going past.
How to set up your webcam in a way to... How to set up your webcam to make you look as nice as possible when video calling.